Hey, what's going on, my friends? It's Dave Sharpe. Welcome to Wake Up Legendary. And my friends, as always, we have another amazing guest. This morning, a full-time home health nurse is building her business through authenticity and challenging herself. My friends, each and every episode is an actual client who we simply reached out to try to get to come on to the show. If they wanted to be a guest, tell their story. There's no prompting. There's no scripting. None of the show was rehearsed. It's completely impromptu. I don't know what questions I'm going to ask, and neither does the guest. So that's what makes it fun. With that being said, please help me welcome our guest today, Lydia Cook. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you, Dave. I'm doing fantastic. Thank you. And yourself?
I'm good. I
Good.
am calling in from chilly Treasure Island, Florida this morning. Where are you calling from?
Kansas City, Missouri, actually. Go Chiefs.
There you go. There you go. The
Yep.
most love to hate, the new Cowboys, right? In the terms that we like to hate them now, right?
Yes, we like to hate them. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I completely get it.
All right. Well, so you are a home health nurse, and is that what you do kind of either before this or outside of this?
That's what I do. I mean, outside of this, yes, I do this alongside my home health nursing. I literally plug this in through my mom and nurse cracks of time that I have throughout my
Mhm.
day. Typically, I do a lot of it like in the evening hours. My when my son and my husband are at the gym, to be quite frank, and that's what I love about about this is the flexibility. And I do see patients in the morning, but I do telehealth more so in the afternoons. So I kind of do a mix of both. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah, nice. So what was the thing that, motivated you to want to do this? I mean, most people may hear home health nurse and think, that sounds like a flexible, even a lucrative job. I
Yeah.
don't know but maybe it's not so much. Maybe there's more month at the end of the money, just like many others. What motivated you to want to get involved in this?
Well, let's take a step back in time, actually. I was in medical device and pharmaceuticals as a nurse, training other nurses and doctors, patients on those things across 5 different states. And I was traveling a lot at that time. So I pumped the brakes on that. And this was right before COVID and during COVID. And then I took a different position so I would be home more, and they were making us go into the office about, I don't know, 2 to 3 days a week. And I was like, no, I'm not sitting in traffic for 50 minutes one way. I was a bear when I left, and I was a bear when I got home. And that is not who I am. And I was like, I've got to be a better mother and wife. And so I took a different position where I was traveling again, but I like the fact that I can dictate my schedule. That's one thing I love about affiliate marketing too, is that it allows you to that freedom to dictate your schedule. And they let me go. They let me go in August 23rd of 2023, because what they did is they hired in the wrong area. So they took my position, they hired in 2 different areas. And then here I was stuck without a job. And I thought, as a nurse, sincerely, I genuinely thought, I'm a nurse, I'm untouchable. But you are. You are so disposable in the workforce when you're working for someone else. And so I had this business coaching thing that I was doing on the side as well, and it was really going nowhere. So in December, I was looking up ways to make money online for my client. I had a few clients, business coaching clients, that were looking for ways to make money online. I came across a busy mom and nurse, actually just like me. And that the whole thing resonated with me. And so that's where I came in affiliate marketing. I um, actually did the $7 15-day challenge initially, and then I bought the blueprints, and um, there we go. Bob's your uncle. Here I am today. And I've kept with it. And I had slow progress at the beginning, but I've always been chasing that freedom and that ability to dictate my own schedule. And my husband's a cancer survivor. And in 2015, it really hit home that I've always been kind of chasing that a little bit, because, life is very short, and I want to retire early with my husband.
Sure, sure. Makes sense. Hope he's doing well now. Sounds
Oh,
like he
yes.
is.
Yep. Yep.
Good,
Yep. God's
good,
good. Yep.
good.
Yep.
Well, okay, this makes sense. I mean, this is why everybody chases the entrepreneur dream, right? This
Yep.
is this is why everybody wants to be a business owner, make all the money, have all the control. not be vulnerable to somebody else's, decision making, and that's why it's the American dream, and that's why we all, or at least a lot of us, chase after it. What is different about owning a business? What is different about being a business owner from the business? Now, you spoke a little bit from the employee perspective. Now,
Yeah.
as the business owner, what's it like for you, and what's different about being the business owner versus in your job, where primarily you're not the business owner, even if you're a 1099, right? You're
Right.
still taking, you're still in that kind of position of uh, you know I don't know. Some people think it's glorious. I think it just all depends on the season of the business, or not very glorious to be an employee. But I think that all depends on the season of the business, particularly when you step into, of course, being that business owner yourself, and you see what some of those challenges are. So again,
Yeah.
what are the differences between the two in your experience?
Sure. So going further back, I've been in an MLM like you back in the day. I was a director with Mary Kay and grew quickly in that company. So I like challenge and I like change. And whenever you work for someone else, you do get challenge and change, but you're doing it at their expense. Does that make sense? Like you're doing it for them and they're the ones to gain and they dictate what your is worth. And I had to ask permission to be off with my family. I'm like, really? No, I shouldn't have to do that. And so the challenge between being an entrepreneur and doing it somewhat full time, because I did it full time from August until about July this year. I did have to do the home health thing more so because we had to pay bills. Inflation is real, y'all. So I had to do that. But it's holding yourself accountable, and more so it's the mindset. When you have a degree, you have this thought like, oh, I've got something to lean back on, right? Like I've got this nursing degree, I've got this bachelor's of science, and people are reaching out for nurses all the time, left and right. But then I'm like, I'm not going to be happy with someone else dictating again when I've got to be, where I've got to be, who I have to be with, all of the things. And so this home health gig, I actually get to dictate my schedule. I like that freedom in my schedule. And I still like to practice my nursing skills a little bit. I still like to educate my patients. I like to educate and motivate them. I like to educate and motivate other folks as well. And so a lot of it's mindset. A lot of it is mindset and not falling back into that trap of negative thinking and so forth. That's probably the hardest thing, in holding yourself accountable to a schedule every day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, where, you were saying that you find the mom cracks, I think you called it. So kind
Yep.
of talk to us about, practically speaking, now, what does that mean? Where are those cracks? What do they look like? Other moms want to know too.
Yeah.
Dads as well. You seem
Yeah.
organized. You seem like you got your ish together here. Tell us
Yeah.
what a day looks like. I mean, maybe not the perfect day, of course, but tell us how you
Yeah.
do.
That's one thing as an entrepreneur, like you mentioned, you have to be, and I've noticed this as a nurse too. Change is constant. It's constantly changing. Whenever you work from home, you've got crises that hit. Like when our house flooded in September, we've got renovations going on right now. I'm in my
Are
freaking
you in
bathroom.
Florida too? Holy smokes! You say
Yeah,
Florida?
no, in Missouri. It's amazing what a toilet will do.
Okay.
But
Wow. Yeah.
anyways,
Watch out for those toilets and those hurricanes, people.
yeah, I know. But anyways, so literally, my husband leaves for the gym with my son around 4:30, 5 o'clock, and I get on, I make my reel. I'm not super great at batching. I've tried it, and that's not my personality at all. But I'm disciplined enough to hold myself accountable to, I'm getting this reel done. You
Mm.
know, and I don't at the beginning I overthought it. And y'all, if you're new to this, you're gonna overthink it too. Trust me, you're going it's normal. It's normal. But now I'm like, okay, screw this. I've got a message. I've got to get out. I've got an audience that needs to hear it. And I don't care if your audience is one person. You've got a person to speak to, and they're counting on you posting. And so I put together a quick B-roll, 7 second video, and I put some words on it, and I have a great caption to my content that I put in there, and just slap it on. And I don't overthink it. I try to come on, do it at least once a day at least, and I do my stories at least once a day. But I do take a break on the weekends because I'm very driven. I found I would push myself a lot, and then I was finding some burnout, and I was like, Lydia, you're better than this. You don't you this is a great opportunity and I'm seeing fruits in my from my labors, but I don't want to resent it, you know? So I've got to be respectful of me too and my family. I don't want my family to resent it too. So
No.
and my son actually said the other day, he's like, for a woman that owns a business online, you don't even know where your phone is right now. And I was like, that's good, Preston. You need to know that that is absolutely fine because I can shut it off and I can tend to my family and keep you priority because I'm doing this because they are my priority.
How old is your son that you're having those conversations?
He is now 17, and I've got a
Oh,
21-year-old daughter that's a senior at the University of Arkansas.
well, not that there's too early of a time to say that in an age appropriate way, but wow, what a gift you're giving to him. Holy
Yeah,
smokes.
yeah.
Really,
Our
seriously.
children are watching us.
Yeah.
They are watching us 100%. And if we're not willing to challenge ourselves, how can we expect them to challenge themselves in life? You know, and I look at my son with admiration. I'm like, wow, you're really working hard to lift weights and get on the football field and play that varsity role. And that is very admirable. And as we get older, we lose that concept of challenge.
Yeah.
And I don't know where that disconnect happens, but I'm not settling for that.
Well, that's why it's called the 15-day or the 5-day challenge or the confidence challenge. That's why we've
Yeah.
stuck with that term because it is truly a challenge. You're right. It's not something that you just wake up and do easily. It's something that even finishing something that you start is a challenge. And I believe that it's a challenge for a lot of people, if not most people. Um, this is really good, and I think one of the things that's really cool about what you're doing and talking about in terms of full integration into your family and sort of letting them see it and setting learning how to set boundaries within your home in terms of a lot of boundaries. You oversharing with them, okay? That's a boundary. Okay, because we get so excited as early entrepreneurs or just the kind of personalities we have that we can go and we can make our family resent it because we're always talking about it in some way, shape, or form, or we're always asking them. We have to learn to, as you put down the phone, put it down. Now, in terms of the technology, setting boundaries around the technology, uh, if our children are going to have to work with technology and it's going to be the centerpiece of their future, it's not our responsibility, but it's a great benefit to them for us as parents to model good technology behavior, good
Yeah.
technology boundaries. Learn how to use the tools and toys that your kids are going to play with in the future. And you show them how to use those tools and toys, friends. Don't let somebody else show them how to use them. It's sort of like having the birds and the bees conversation. If you don't have it, somebody else will, right? It's sort of
Or they
like
learned the hard way.
it's sort of like talking to your kids about drugs. You talk about it or somebody else talks about it with them.
Right. 100%.
You
Yes.
know, and so technology is one of these things that, we don't have to be scared of it or act as if it doesn't exist or shame our young people for interacting with it. We actually need to learn how to use it and then model good behavior for them. So they can, and just what a powerful concept and conversation. The nuance of that is beautiful, and how you explain that to him, not in a shaming way, just in a
Yeah.
corrective way. Like, let me correct that. Let me give you a different perspective on that. Powerful.
Always 100%. Yes.
So, what is the learning and the launching been like for you? Is there any particular limiting beliefs that have popped up that you didn't expect to pop up through the process? Again, whether it was learning and even getting started, or whether it was publishing that first video.
Um, I think initially when I first got started, it was you kind of shy away from lives. And this summer I did a boatload of lives. And that and then not getting stuck in that shiny object syndrome because like you see all these different things. Oh, I want to do this. Oh, I want to do that. And I fell into that for a little bit and my growth has been a little slow, but that's okay. I understand what my path is and I'm not giving up. And that's what's important is to understand is not get rich quick. It's a business, it's a job. It's just like when you work for someone else, I mean, they're going to determine, however, someone else is going to determine what your value is, and they're
Oh,
going to determine how much to pay you every hour. But anyways,
the elf agrees with that.
thank you. But it's understanding that it takes time, just like if you're working for someone else, you have the discipline to work for someone else. They're gonna increase your pay based on your performance. I mean, this is kind of the same concept, except you have complete control over your performance and how much you get paid. I've learned to diversify my income streams, which is amazing. I learned that from the now Learn Launch Lead, but I at the time it was a 15-day challenge. So I've learned a lot, but probably getting live on video and thinking, what are other people going to think? Everyone has that thought, like, don't give them that power though. And anytime that thought process comes in my head, I'm like, not today, Satan. Nuh-uh, not today. This is no one has to pay my bills but my husband and I. That's it. So if they have an opinion about me, up your nose with a rubber hose. I'm moving on. Like, see
Mm,
ya. But
mm,
yeah.
up your nose with a rubber hose.
I do say that sometimes to myself, not out loud, but yeah.
Well, you said it out loud
I
here.
did just today. I just say liar, Lydia. But yeah,
Now we get to add that to our vocabulary.
yeah,
So, what has this process allowed you to learn about yourself and your capabilities or your limitations?
yeah. About myself, when I first started, it was almost a year ago. It was a year ago. I went through the challenge in January of this year, and I launched my business on January 20th of this year. I had a quick win right out the gate. I made a quick commission, and that's not common. But then it was crickets. I mean, it was like asystole as a nurse, flatline, like nothing's going on. I'm like, okay, this is not cool. And then the scarcity mindset set in and so forth. And at the time, I was seriously looking for a job because now I'd been without a job for a few months, and I was spending a lot of time looking for jobs. Um, and I realized that if I see it through, I will get wins. And I've had a lot of great wins. And it's just because I've stayed diligent to it and I've given myself grace.
Mm,
Because whenever you come at things with a scarcity mindset, it reflects
mm,
in your posts. It reflects to other people, and whenever you give yourself that grace and just be gentle to yourself, that reflects too. And I found that attracts more folks to me. And just speaking not to everyone, but speaking to that busy mom and nurse that's wanting to find a way to make money from home and not sacrifice time away from their families and dictate their everything in life. That's my goal. But yeah.
and you know, these are transferable skills. This is
Hmm.
not joining Mary Kay. This is not, as you
Yeah.
said earlier in the episode, this is not for those of you who are, and I know where the majority of you are at if you're in that contemplation mode, whether you have not gotten started or whether you got started and you are now in that, I'm seeing some other shiny objects. Do I really want to follow through and do this and learn this? Here's what I can tell you is that the skills that you will learn here and in this process will be valuable to you and potentially even must know skills in the near future around technology and
Hmm.
just even in the workplace. Um, and you can use these skills in so many different ways. What you're thinking about right now is only a freckle on the pimple of a gnat's ass compared to how powerful and how in many different ways you can use what you'll learn in this education and even specifically around selling information products, the core four ways to sell information online that we teach here, the skills that we teach to execute those business models, you can use in damn near every other business, in every other thing that you do.
Yep. Building a sales funnel, huge. Email automation, huge.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's worth your time, friends, to learn this, to suspend your skepticism and your disbelief that it could happen to you or for you. and just put in the work and make it happen. Because nothing's going to happen for you or to you just magically fairy dust. No, you,
Right.
you're going to have to make it happen. And that's the journey that you just took us through over the last 24 minutes, was just from beginning, middle, and at where you're at now. Each step of the way, it was commitment, it was feelings, it was conversations, it was follow through, then consistency, and now
Right.
come up for air, get celebrated a little bit, right? Get recognized, and now the journey of the entrepreneur is that you don't get to ride high and, oh my gosh, I got, whoo, wow, that was great recognition. That was, we even made some money today. Awesome. It's not like, you know, you get to ride off into the sunset. It's like, okay, now let's get back to work.
Right.
I mean, I was at the Bucks game the other day. One last thing about this. I was at the Bucks game the other day, and Mike Evans is one of our wide receivers, first ballot Hall of Famer. Okay. He had just come off the field. He sat down on the bench. I'm sitting second row, so I can see him. They do this announcement in stadium, 50,000 people inside of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers stadium on Sunday. Mike Evans, like to recognize Hall of Fame, or Walter Payton, Man of the Year. That's a pretty big award. I'm going to tell you something. Mike Evans didn't even stand up. Didn't even stand up and do one of these because there was a game going on.
Yeah.
There was a game going on.
Yeah.
He was watching the game. He didn't do this. Now, after, I'm sure he would have, but I noticed that. As that was announced and people were giving him a round of applause, he was even sitting down on the bench, but he was resting so he could get ready to go back in the game.
Get focused. Get
He
his
was
hype on. Yep.
100%
Yep.
focused. He wasn't even worried that 50,000 and the camera was on him. He was not worried that 50,000 people were looking at him. He was not acknowledging them. He was in, and I was blown away by that level of laser focus and being completely unbothered by what anybody else thinks, except what your priority is.
Yep. 100%. And I wanted one more thing too. I'd be remiss not to mention is that consistency is key. I mean, it is key in everything you do. You will not have success in anything if you give up. You've got to be consistent. Some days are good, some days are bad. That's what we're guaranteed in life, is to suffer and to have good days and bad days. And you should celebrate both. But there's always a blessing even in the bad. And that's one thing I always remind myself, like, this is meant for me. I'm meant to be here. And I just know that. I don't know how to explain it, but I just know it. But yeah. And with Legendary Marketer, I learned the key 4 ways to make money in the online space, and that this is scalable. And I love that. I love the opportunities. And my kids see it too. I hear my 21-year-old saying entrepreneurial things now. She's an international business major. I'm so proud of her. And I'm like, oh, sweetheart, let's just talk about what you could do with that.
Well, I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. Well,
Yeah.
you sound like a wonderful mom, an amazing wife, and nurse, and now online marketer. And
Yes.
so,
And
congratulations.
forever. Thank you. Thank
Hey,
you. I appreciate you and thank you for putting up this platform so we have the ability to learn the right ways of doing things.
yeah, yeah. My pleasure and our pleasure. All right, my friend, stay well, be great, be legendary. Thank you for your time today. It was a pleasure. I loved getting to know you and hear about your story. And of course, we'll send everybody over to check you out on Instagram,
Thank you.
Lydia Wealth Affiliate, no
Yep.
spaces or underscores. All right, my friend.
Thank you. God bless.
All right, take care. All right, my friend. Excuse me. All right, my friends. Have a fantastic day. This has been a wonderful episode, a great story, an awesome example of what's possible. You can get started with our education, our 5 day challenge. We've compressed our challenge down to 5 days. So it's, quicker, easier, funner for you to go through it and get the information. We have both a marketing challenge and a confidence challenge. Check them both out. You will thank yourself. You will thank yourself for going through and dedicating the time to experience both of those 5-day challenges. You can also enroll in our blueprints at the link on the screen, legendarymarketer.com/enroll, ENROLL, or come to our mastermind that we're having in Austin, Texas, January 31st through February 2nd. We'll have a hell of a time in Austin, Texas at our next mastermind. Meet us there. You can find the information right there on legendarymarketer.com/enroll. All the information on one page. Get involved. Okay. Still time to end the year strong with a big vision for yourself for 2025, some new goals to take some actions that are going to, I've always, and I was thinking about this yesterday, use December, or I have many times, not always, but many times in the past, as a way to get extra work done. Just while everybody else was sort of resting and vacationing, I've built entire courses or built entire marketing campaigns or just got, relaunched, overhauled companies. I mean, there really has been, if I did a fireside chat and each year went over all of the things I got done in December, many of you may be looking at this month as if it's kind of a wash, or it's gone, or it's just holidays. But you can get a lot done, especially when nobody else is driving around on the streets, metaphorically. But everybody else is resting. You can be working towards a better 2025. Don't give up on December. Use it to the best of your ability to get the most out of the time here. All right, my friends, we'll see you back here tomorrow for another episode. Thank you again, Lydia, for a great show this morning. She was awesome. You all have a great Thursday, and we'll see you back here tomorrow for another one. Get out of here. Peace.